or dresses or shoes or wardrobes or other. It's not that God is not doing those things, but that's not the focus. For us, our whole focus is the ministry, people. And ministry is people. People getting saved, getting discipled, getting sent to repeat that cycle. So that's what we are really passionate about. Now, let me see where I've been trying to figure out the best place to start in this setting. But let me start. Is it okay if I come down here? You know, when you're in a new place, you first get to know the rules. My cousin say, go back, go back. Someone at the back is like, wow. Proverbs 24, I believe it's verse 3, thereabouts. If we start there, we'll be okay. Oh, they are going to put up some scriptures. It has come, eh? Okay. Together, through wisdom, a house is built, and by understanding, it's established. First of all, have you seen that at Wonders, even the background to the verse? Wow, it's a wonder. Yeah. Wow, thank you, Apostle Abel Collins and Pastor Violet. Thank you for the excellence. Like they were saying, when you have a 50 by 100 and then God does all of this, and 3 church locations, now I will see where you're going. And it is far and significant. These are the things that excite some of us. You know, when a church gets its own property, so no one can come and say, not today. Locked. Feel like a church that has its own property is going to be a headache to the devil for a long time. It's like now official headache to the devil for a long time. So this is really significant. Now, he says, through wisdom, a house is built, and by understanding, it is established. Let's read the next 2 verses, then we'll try and get to it. It says, by knowledge, the rooms are filled with all precious and pleasant riches. Actually, just those 2 verses. So through wisdom, a house is built. By understanding, it is, built and established are different. Built is like founded, set up. What a shock. Welcome, Pastor Philip. Founded, set up, yeah. But then it says, by understanding, it is what? Established. You go from, here is a church, it is built, to the church is now, it can't be wished away. It is an establishment. I had the delight of visiting Worship Harvest Gayaza yesterday. And they were only 43 people away from having 1,000 people attend garage physically. Now, one day you will know how complicated it is to have 1,000 people attend your service. When we were young, we used to think, we used to see people do it, and you think, cup of tea. Now we are less young, and we know it is not a cup of tea. So we're looking at a scripture in John 11, and we're talking about Martha and Mary in the town of Bethany. Okay? And You know how they used to name people in the Bible? They didn't have two names. So like Jesus Christ is not Jesus, the son of Joseph and Mary Christ. Christ is just a designation, is Jesus, the anointed one. But his real name is Jesus of Nazareth. Okay? So Mary and Martha of Bethany, Joseph of Arimathea, David of Bethlehem. You get what I'm saying? So, and I was telling them prophetically, and maybe I may as well tell you, that may your town get to be known by you. Yeah. Where the only reason it is known is you. Like many of you know about Redding in Southern California. It's because of Bethel Church. Otherwise, how else would you ever know about Redding? Yeah, so we are going to shift this thing to the degree that people, you see, people out there still think that Amin is still our president. It's so annoying. But we are going to change the story until Uganda or the city, wherever your church is known by your church. So they say, you're going to, where is that? Oh, is that the city of this church? You see, the only part that works for you is the part you believe. So I'm thankful for those who believe. It shall happen. Where it's like, where are you going? You see, like in Gaba, for me, honestly, the only thing I know about in Gaba is Gaba Community Church. Yeah, like what else do you know about Gaba? National Water, okay. Then what? Gaba Community. So that's what God is calling this generation to. I'm going to go off script and just get. You see, friends, our fathers, like Pastor Robert Kayanja, Pastor Gary Skinner, Pastor Simeon Kaiwa, Pastor Dr. Joseph Serwada, and many, many others. They fought to build the church in a very unfavorable time. Many of them started their churches in a time of war. Yeah, it was unfavorable. It was in a time of war. You couldn't find people to serve. Those days you could have one graduate on a village, and that was a miracle. There was only one university. Can you imagine the time when these people started? They started when there was one university. So for you to have a graduate in your church, they needed to have come from that university. There were all sorts of things. You needed permission tickets to buy soda. Soda was for only weddings, and you had to book many weeks in advance to be able to get a few crates. Otherwise, people drank orange juice. And yeah, do you remember the means of transport those days? Peugeot. Those Peugeots where you sit facing each other. Peugeot. With the door at the back. You enter, and one side is facing this way with a carbox type what? People's transport. Why am I talking to people who are like 20 years old? Why are people looking at me like they don't know what I'm talking about? Yeah, but this is not, I'm not saying here teenagers, they are not the majority. I'm talking to people who have been around for some time. Or you are refusing to be responsive so that you don't say you had the message I was talking about. Some of the villages never even had these ones. Yeah. When my mother was going to town, we lived in a village called Mutai. She had to organize herself because there was this one bus. She had to take to town, and to get it before it leaves town in the evening to come back. Now, all the things you're seeing these men of God have done, they did them with that. You can say they far superseded expectations. Now, we cannot come along. Let's say they were the Moses generation to take people from Egypt, out of Egypt. Yeah? Then they hand over to Joshua. And then Joshua continues dragging people through the what? The wilderness. No. I believe we are the Joshua generation. I believe, if you think about Jesus, Jesus ministered only within Israel. It is in very few cases that he left the boundaries of Israel. Now imagine him handing over to the disciples, and they also now just continue around Galilee, Jerusalem. Say, I'm understanding. The pastors understand? Okay. What do you think? What do you really think heaven's expectation of us is? What was heaven's expectation of Joshua? To do what Moses did. Get them out of Egypt and first arrange things. To do what Jesus did. Greater works. So you and I, we have to embrace the responsibility on us now. Because if you think about it, the fathers fought hard to get something going. I was talking to Pastor Michael Chaze a little while ago, and we were saying, Mwana gwe. If you say that we are local, there were very few people who were known as what? Local. Even if you said you were local, you are there. Everyone would be like, what? Aliwa. Now, it is normal. Yeah, so it's even fashionable. Now, are we going to stop where they stopped? Because you see, they fought hard, but they didn't manage to take the Ugandan church global, to have churches from Uganda planted all over the world. That is now our responsibility. So I hope you have already enjoyed enough of your current status as the big man in your church. Because I can tell you, there is no way we are going to go to heaven like this and appear before Jesus and say, yeah, our fathers did great things. And, you know, yeah, but you also, you have anointed them now. For us, what are we supposed to do? Wow. Is that what we are going to do? No. We must embrace the challenge of the greater works for every generation. Oh yes. If we don't do greater works than the fathers, we will have wasted their sacrifice. Yeah, that they fought to get us here, and then we just played in the thing. We must work hard to prevent the curse of greatness skipping a generation. You see, out there in the world, they say greatness skips a generation. Because the children, and they are too comfortable. They don't take things to the next level. It's the children of the children usually who then step up. Now, we must not allow that thing. We must not allow that thing. Yeah. And I hope you didn't come here for entertainment. When they told you there is a meeting at Wonders, yeah. I'm going to either inspire you, or offend you, or annoy you, or something. Yeah. Other than just leaving you alone. Because even me, I'm irritated with myself already. So if you see me, just know you're not the problem. So we cannot continue the way we are. Because you know what? We are running out of time. Yeah, by the time Pastor Robert was my age, what was he doing? Yeah. Yeah. How many countries was he ministering? So how about you? How about me? We are there. Like the Wasoga said, tulikufuru kutana in our little things. It's time to pick ourselves up and realize that we have a mandate that goes beyond your church. We have a mandate that goes beyond your church and all your problems you're dealing with, fundraising, blocks, bricks, what. Look, all that is part of the process, but the expectation is actually higher. Yeah. You mean we are going to organize ourselves and die without having churches that are greater than Watoto and Miracle Center and what? Like, what kind of thinking is that? Yeah. For my 5th year dissertation and what, I interviewed a lot of pastors and I talked to Pastor Robert. You know, Miracle Center, that one sits like 10,000 people. So now we have all connived to build smaller things. Yeah, like, only 10,000. Okay, we can understand when we start the way we started, even me. I don't have one finger out for looking back at me. But as long as God gives us life, we must wake up to the reality that the expectation of heaven on our generation is higher than that of the fathers. They didn't expect Joshua to take them back to Egypt or keep them in the wilderness. They didn't expect the disciples to minister in Israel. So with that little background, through wisdom, a house is built. One of the most fascinating things to look at in the Bible is generational things. And then you see, like in light of actually what I'm sharing, you look at a person like David, who fought many battles to give Israel peace. Now, that also is its own issue. There are battles we must win in our, there are battles they won in their generation. You see, like, it's not illegal to be here and speak as born again people. There was a time it was. So now they won that one. Oh gosh, the pastors. So every generation must win certain battles that their children should not have to fight. Yeah. David settled the issue of the Philistines once and for all. It is what enabled Solomon to reign in peace. Because you can't build in a time of war. You can only build in a time of peace. Solomon, the Bible says, God gave him rest on all sides. And he was able to build. King Asa said that now that the Lord has given us peace, let us build. Do you get what I'm saying? So, for example, that generation, they were called Chiwempe churches. Why? Because they were just trying to get things going. Now, What a shock if our generation also be called what? Yeah. How can the fathers have been named that? Because they are fighting the Goliaths to give us a better chance. And then we also show up, eat all the money, drive big cars, and build nothing. When they had 1, 2 graduates in their church, you have 50 with jobs, 100.